remember, our state depends on you getting out there and voting every single time, every single election. And maybe there's an election out there that you go, yeah, I really don't feel like getting out and voting on that. No. You know, I always hear people say, I would do anything for my children. I would do anything. Well, would you go vote in a school board election? Oh, that's on a Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah, I'm really busy. On Tuesdays, I'm really, really busy. That's not doing anything for your kids. We need to make, look how long it has taken us to just make some headway. Look how long it took us to get constitutional carry here in South Carolina. It took a long time. Look how long it is still taking us to have closed primaries. These things have been on the ballot for 19 years. And the reason we can't get closed primaries on the ballot here in South Carolina is because closed primaries are helping these people in Columbia keep their seats. So they have no interest. If they had an interest in closing the primaries here in South Carolina, they would have done it a long time ago. But you see, they are the beneficiaries of open primaries. So they're not going to do anything about it. So if they're not going to do anything about it, it is incumbent, or should I say anti-incumbent, on us to get out there and vote and remove those people who are really creating the problems. And this is the same group of people, and I've told you this time and time again. They put radical leftist liberals in subcommittee chairmanships in Ruby Red, South Carolina. I don't get that. I never will. Because we all know that they are not truly conservative. So let's get them out. Let's get some actual conservatives in there. And let's make our state legislature just as red as the electorate. That's what we need to do. And then let's get a governor in there who's not going to hide behind a desk at every chance he gets. The only time we see Henry McMaster is if there's a national emergency or if he's announcing more taxpayer money being given away to some corporation that is looking to come to South Carolina. That's the only times you hear from Henry McMaster. We need a governor out there that's going to be proactive and get out there and actually do something. But, folks, this is all up to you. You've got to be informed. You've got to be involved. You've got to be engaged in the political system. And I hear people say, oh, I don't get involved in politics. Well, politics certainly gets involved in you every single day. So we got to make sure that this state lives up, that the idea of this state lives up to the reality, or the reality of this state lives up to the idea of this state. Because we're, like I said, we're supposed to be ruby red. But our state legislature, purple at best. Purple at best. Charlie, all South Carolina does is go along to get along. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Go along to get, but I'll never understand that. You've got the governor's mansion, you've got the House, you've got the Senate, you got supermajority in those. There should not be. The Democrats should just show up. And but what did Jack Nicklaus say about his caddy? You should show up, shut up, show up, keep up, and shut up. That's the way the Democrats ought to be here in South Carolina. Show up, keep up, shut up. That should be their roles. So, pretty amazing. Somebody wants to know where the Charlie James show is. I'm wondering about that. We are right here. Maybe that was before we got the stream hooked up. So anyway, there you go. So we got a lot of elections coming up. We got special elections coming up. We'll keep you abreast of all of that. But don't forget about that forum that is coming up tonight. You don't want to miss out on that. It is brought to you by the Greenville Patriot Caucus and Young Greenville Republican Club. That's the candidate forum. Reggie Batson, Diane Mitchell, Steve Nail, Jack Stott are going to be there. That's happening tonight at the Pelham-Batesville Fire Department right there in Greer, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Joey Hudson's going to be moderating that. When we get back, What do the Democrats want to keep the government open? Oh, they are holding us hostage, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Eyewitnesses wanted. When you see news, email news@989WORD.com. Interact on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. Text or call. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
I got a friend of mine whose son just moved up to D.C. to work with the government. He worked for 2 days, shut down. Now he's up there wondering what the heck's going to happen. And this is all because of the Democrats. They are now, please do not assume, because I know right now we're being just absolutely battered by the Democrats and the folks over on the left, that this is a Republican shutdown. It is not. This is a Democrat shutdown, pure and simple. The Republicans simply want to continue funding the government in the same manner that it was funded 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. No additional spending, no reductions. This is a clean CR. Now, there was a time when the Democrats were much in favor of a clean CR. But you see, since Chuck Schumer voted for the big, beautiful bill, and he absolutely got lambasted by the folks on the left, including Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, now they have to come up and say, no, no, no. We want to add $1.5 trillion worth of spending to this continuing resolution. And one of the talking points is, oh, people are going to lose their health care. No, you're not. People are not going to lose their health care. Who is not going to get health care is illegal aliens. And like I pointed out to you last week, it is that definition that they're playing word games with. Because all of those illegals that came across their border and came in contact with a Border Patrol agent, they were given parole. And since they were given parole, they are here technically, legally. So they were given parole, and then they have to wait until their case comes up, 2-3 years from now? So the Democrats consider those people to be here legally. The Republicans don't. So when they say things like that, and by the way, they're now starting to admit that truth. They're finally starting to admit that they were playing word games. But it's about more than just that. It's a lot of spending that they want to do. I want you to listen to Senator John Kennedy just lay out a few of the things that they want to spend money on.
Basically, President Trump just said, we want you to take some stuff out of the budget that we think is wasteful. And we did. And that upset the Congresswoman. She's entitled to be upset if she wants to. But that really upset the socialist wing of the party. And so we took out, and here's what they want us to put back in. We found that under President Biden, they were spending $3 million for circumcisions and vasectomies in Zambia. We took that out. The Congresswoman says, we're going to shut down government until you put that back in. We found $500,000 of American taxpayer money for electric buses in Rwanda. We found $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti. I kid you not. I'm not making this up. That was in the budget under President Biden. We took it out. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez in the socialist wing, the loon wing of the Democratic Party, says we're going to shut down government until you put it back in. I'll just read you a few more that we took out. They are demanding we put back in. $6 million for media organizations for the Palestinians. $833,000 for transgender people in Nepal. $300,000 for a pride parade in Lesotho. $882,000 for social media and mentorship in Serbia. $4.2 million. We took it out. The Congresswoman and the socialist wing of their party says we've got to put that back in for the open government. $4.2 million for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex people in the Western Balkans and Uganda. I could spend the rest of the afternoon here.
That's unbelievable. That's what they're holding us hostage for? $3 million for circumcision and vasectomies in Zambia, $833,000 for transgender people in Nepal, $4.2 million for LGBTQ people in Western Balkans and Uganda, $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti, $3.6 million, $500,000 for electric buses in Rwanda, a pride parade in Lesotho, social media mentorship in Serbia, almost $1 million. That's what they want put back in this budget in order to keep the government open. But as Caroline Levitt said, the clock is ticking.
While President Trump continues to negotiate peace deals, meets with world leaders, and celebrates the 250th birthday of our United States Navy, as you saw he and the First Lady do just yesterday, Democrats, unfortunately, are continuing to play political games. And we are now in day 6 of the Democrat federal government shutdown. Millions of American federal workers are under enormous financial stress as a result, wondering how they will pay their bills and take care of their families. If the Democrats do not vote to open the government tonight, federal workers will not receive their next full paycheck. Additionally, the special supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, and children will run out of federal money very soon. This program provides vouchers to buy infant formula, fresh fruits and vegetables, and other healthy foods for low-income families. It can be easily fully funded if Democrats simply vote tonight to reopen the government.
But do you think they're going to do that? Do you think they're going to vote to reopen the government? No, because they feel like their plan is working. And their plan is to gather all their buddies over in the mainstream media together and say, listen, these are the talking points you guys need to be putting forward. You need to tell your viewers, your listeners, your readers that this is a Republican shutdown. And you need to put the blame on them. But listen, that's right out of their playbook that they've had since, practically the beginning of the Democrat Party. Blame the Republicans for everything. And the mainstream media always goes along with it. It doesn't matter. If the Democrats shut down the government, it's the Republicans' fault. If the Republicans shut down the government, it's the Republicans' fault. And that's what the mainstream media have been putting out there for decades now. But this time, people are actually fighting back. I mean, they're starting to understand. When you get every single Republican except for one, Rand Paul, voting for this continuing resolution, how can it be a Republican shutdown? I mean, think about that. It was practically unanimous to keep the government open on the Republican side. Every single Democrat, but I believe 3, maybe 2 and an independent, voted to shut the government down. So how is the mainstream media coming along and saying this is anything but a Democrat shutdown? Well, they have to lie for that. They have to lie for that. Charlie, who voted for all of that anyway? Do Republicans know how to read or too lazy? Well, that's what they took out. That's what they took out of the Biden budget. And now the Democrats want it back in. And this texter makes a really good point. Charlie, we know that's not where the money ends up. Oh, you are exactly right. You are exactly right. Do you really think that they're going to have $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Hawaii? Do you think really they're going to show up and say, hey, man, we got all of these funds now. We're going to have a great baking show for you. We're going to get out there and we're going to show you how to dance, man. No, that's not going to happen. All you male prostitutes, come on in here, brah. It's not going to happen. That's going back to them in some way. You know it. I know it. They know it. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
While others talk rough, Charlie stays smooth, like a perfect putting green.
News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome back to the program. So glad to have you on this Monday afternoon. Well, tomorrow is the second anniversary of the Palestinian attack on Israel that saw absolutely horrific crimes. It was the worst attack on Israelis since the Holocaust. And Israel simply decided they were going to defend themselves and make sure this couldn't happen again. Well, immediately everybody was calling for peace. Oh, no. You see, the only thing that Israel can ever do is fight to a truce. They can't go in and win. And unfortunately, that's kind of been the same philosophy. And so thankfully, we've got Pete Hegseth as the Secretary of War now, because it's not just about defense. It's about going in and making sure that these things don't happen again. So everybody was coming down on Israel. Oh, you can't do that. And they were like, well, watch us. So everybody's been calling for peace, something that they never called for in Ukraine, but now they're calling for peace. So tomorrow's the second anniversary. Well, President Trump has issued an ultimatum to Hamas. The deadline was yesterday at 6 o'clock, our time. And the folks at Hamas, they seem to agree with the vast majority of what President Trump laid down. So now we are having some peace talks in Egypt. All right? And this is from the New York Times. Those significant issues remain to be hashed out between Israel and Hamas. Some are saying that after 2 years of death and destruction, a breakthrough may be near. This is from Afrat Levni. Under pressure to end the war in Gaza, after 2 brutal years of combat, negotiators for Israel and Hamas met today with mediators in Egypt to begin discussing a sweeping peace plan presented by President Trump last week. Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, said this afternoon that technical talks were underway in Egypt involving parties from both sides. The indirect talks between Israel and Hamas, mediated by the United States, Qatar, and Egypt, are likely to focus on 2 aspects of the 20-point proposal that Mr. Trump unveiled: exchanging Israeli-held Palestinians for captives taken on October the 7th, Hamas-led attack on that attack that set off the war, and an Israeli pullback from parts of Gaza. Israel believes that about 20 hostages are still alive in Gaza and also seeks the remains of about 25 others. Secretary of State Marco Rubio told Fox News on Sunday that Hamas has agreed to present hostages a hostage release framework. Under the plan, the hostages will be exchanged for about 250 Palestinian prisoners serving life sentences and 1,700 Gazans jailed by Israel during the war. For every hostage whose remains are unleashed, Israel will release the remains of 15 Gazans. So it's called for the releases within 72 hours of Israel agreeing to it. That would be logistically difficult, some people say, and the 2 sides have yet to agree on which Palestinian prisoners will be released. Ms. Leavitt told reporters at the White House briefing that the teams were in Egypt to discuss that exchange. So we will see what happens with that. Now, I read somewhere today that the Nobel Peace Prizes were going to be issued or announced next week. Now, remember, Al Gore got a Peace Prize for practically nothing. It was just talking about the environment, none of which anything he has ever said about the environment came true. Barack Hussein Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize literally for just being Barack Hussein Obama. He didn't have to negotiate anything, didn't have to do anything great and wonderful, wasn't all that exemplary of a president. He just got it because of who he was. And that's it, pure and simple. But now we've got a president that has resolved 7 going into 8 world conflicts or conflicts throughout the planet, throughout the globe. If anybody deserves the Nobel Peace Prize, we all know that it's him. And the folks over at MSNBC, or I'm sorry, CNN, They're not happy about it.
And if President Trump is able to do this, it's a major victory for him.
Look, it is challenging to actually hear.
Can you hear? Can you hear how downhearted they are? Can you hear how they're just like, oh, this would be really good. If he was able to do this, it would be really good.
That piece of, Trump potentially being the one to get the ceasefire deal. But I think what we are seeing now is that a lot of people are tired of the devastation that's happening to the Palestinian people. And so how do we figure out a path forward? And so I would be interested to understand President Trump's interest in.
Aha. Now we get into the crux of their argument.
This because he has said some things that are very harmful to the Palestinian people. I don't know, what his motivations are.
He wants the war to end. I mean, he wants the war. He wants.
That's what he wants.
I don't think
wants the war to end for a lot of reasons. Some of them are personal reasons. He wants that Nobel Peace Prize. Some of them are.
Say, that's the only thing he's trying to get. No, forget about peace. Forget about lives being lost. Forget about all the destruction. He just wants the Nobel Peace Prize. That's all he wants. That's the folks over there at CNN. He wants peace. He wants people to quit dying. Why can't they just leave it at that? Because that's what he wants. But it would absolutely warrant the Nobel Peace Prize, right? There you go. Let's see. Charlie Obama was the great divider. Wasn't he, though? Oh, I love this. Charlie Obama got the DEI Peace Prize. Yep, you're exactly right. Exactly right. So, Charlie, peace talks in Egypt. Awesome. The country that had 40-plus tunnels into Gaza, including one big enough to drive a truck in through. Okay, there you go. All right. So, anyway, pretty amazing that they can't even come along and just give the guy credit for anything. They really, there's always got to be an ulterior motive for those people, in their opinion of Trump. Trump's just doing this for Trump. It's a marketing thing for Trump. That's all it is. That's all it is. So they can never just come along and say, dadgummit, the guy's doing a good job. No, I strike that. He's doing a great job. Not only here in the United States, but all over the globe. So, there you go. All right, coming up in just a little bit. Did you see where the South Carolina judge's home went up in flames over the weekend? That was unbelievable. Also, are we already in a civil war? We'll talk about that coming up now in just a little bit. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Get breaking news sent straight to your phone for free. Download the Odyssey app. Follow News Talk 98.9 WORD. Stay in the know with the voice of the Carolinas. fingers do the talking.
Text the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line at 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right. There's a South Carolina judge, Judge Diane Goldstein, whose house in Edisto just absolutely went up in flames this weekend. It's a horrendous fire, burned to the ground completely. And what they were saying, eyewitness reports were like, that this was an explosion. This wasn't just like something that started on the stove. But then again, nobody knows. But from what people are saying, it wasn't something that just started on the stove. Everything just went up, like almost all at once. Well, we know what flashover is. We've seen all of that stuff, and we know how these things happen. We've seen it before. Something small could smolder. This thing could release gases as it burns, smolders at a low level. Those gases go up, they collect on the ceiling, and then all of a sudden those gases catch on fire all at the same time, and they result in an explosion-like experience as far as fire is concerned. So eyewitnesses saying that this was an explosion of sorts may not be exactly accurate. All right, we do not know the cause of the fire. We know that her husband, former state senator Arnold Goldstein, was rushed to the hospital. In fact, I believe, I also heard reports, he was life-flighted to the hospital. I think he's got broken bones in his hips and his legs and things like that. It's a pretty bad situation. The judge was out walking on the beach when the fire started. Okay. Now, the folks on the left are doing everything they possibly can before SLED has completed the investigation, before any forensic fire experts have gone in and determined the cause of the fire. They're already trying to link this to Trump supporters. In fact, that's immediately where they went, because Diane Goldstein was the judge that temporarily blocked South Carolina from giving millions of voters' data to the Department of Justice. So because she did this, these folks on the left, they were like, oh, well, this is obviously, they're really quick to rush to judgment on this thing. Now, some things you can absolutely do, like when you have, a conservative commentator assassinated at Utah Valley State University, and the shooter has pro-trans etchings on the bullets. And he lives with a furry trans person. You can make some assumptions there. When you give somebody with anti-ICE etchings on their bullet casings that attack an ICE facility and open fire, you can draw some correlations there. Some of these things are a little easier than others. But they immediately want you to think, and they immediately want the media to think, and everybody else to think, that we're the ones, us on the right, we're the violent ones. That somebody on our side would go in and burn this judge's house down. And they're going to keep pushing this narrative as well. And the truth is, we have no idea. We have no idea what happened. I had some friends, they had a house much like this on the beach. They both went for a walk. You got the waves crashing, you got the wind blowing, and they heard something strange. And they were like, what is that noise? What in the world? And they turned around, and their house was completely on fire. Burned to the ground. I had another friend that went out to dinner. Lightning struck his house, burned to the ground. But because this was a South Carolina judge who blocked blocked giving voter registration to the DOJ, all of a sudden this thing's got to be political. Not everything is. So I would hold off on any type of judgment about this fire until we let SLED do their job. So we'll see what happens. But that's just the way they want to do. It was a beautiful home, by the way. Really was. This guy, Jim Hansen, in D.C., president of World Strat, chief strategist for Middle East Forum and former Special Forces weapons, he says Judge Diane Goodson's house burned down. She had blocked state voter data from going to the DOJ. The number of people outraged by it is tiny. If her house was burnt because of this, then lock up the arsonist before we lose our minds. Check for a gas leak. I would check for a gas leak, and I'm pretty sure they are. New York Post. Let's see. Nope, that was the wrong story. Sorry. But again, they're going to try to blame somebody on the right. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. The family members escaped by jumping out of a window, and that's what happened to former South Carolina Senator Arnold Goodson with that. But anyway, there you go. We'll see what happens. I know it's absolutely crazy. 800-9050-989. That's the common sense. No, I'm sorry. That's the WORD talk line. It's also the common sense retirement planning text line. Charlie, nobody had time to get out if it was an explosion. Just saying. I know. Charlie, they probably smelled gas before an explosion, and that's why the husband got out. Maybe so. We don't know. We have no idea what happened with this thing. So, Charlie, the left is saying a MAGA extremist set the fire. I know they are. Because that's where they got to go. In order to try, again, I'll say it, in order to try to prove their narrative that we're the violent ones, that we're the extremists out there, that's immediately where they go when something like this happens. They don't even want to sit down, like I said, and let SLED do the work. But we all know, look at what's going on in Chicago. Look at what's going on in Portland. Coming up in just a minute, we're going to be talking about if we are already in a civil war. Because when you look at what they did in Chicago over this weekend, I'll give you just a little teaser here. ICE agents were surrounded by Antifa. So they called 911 for some backup, and in Chicago, they said, no, do not respond to this 911 call. That's unbelievable. And then we've got Brandon Johnson violating the Constitution when he issued an executive order establishing ICE-free zones. We'll tell you why. That is unconstitutional. All that's coming up. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Joey Hudson here. Start your day early on Sunrise, Carolina, tomorrow morning at 5 on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of nonstop breaking news and stimulating talk kicks off every hour.
News should be completely honest.
Every weekday, mornings and afternoons.
Only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
If you've been struggling to lose weight but have never had a root cause analysis, listen up. Hey, I'm Dr. Elliot Hirschhorn with New Life Weight Loss, and I know the secret to losing 20 to 30 pounds in just a month or two. The reason other programs have failed you? They ignore the root causes. We're the only weight loss program in the area that does in-depth testing to find out why your body is holding on to fat. You could be suffering from insulin resistance, hormone imbalances, or genetic issues impacting your ability to lose weight. Our program starts with your free 3D body scan and metabolic health report. Then we build you a custom plan. No prepackaged meals, no injections, just real results that last.
Bill Frady here. After I had that bad heart attack, I knew I had to lose weight and nothing was working until New Life Weight Loss. Once they did the testing and found my real problem, I lost 55 pounds. So call New Life Weight Loss today for your free 3D body scan and metabolic health report today at 864-203-4290 or visit mynewlifeweightloss.com. That's mynewlifeweightloss.com.
Novant Health's Care for You is growing, Greenville. Their trusted team of 41,000 expert physicians and caregivers is expanding care in South Carolina. From the Low Country and the Midlands and now to the Upstate, Novant Health wants to provide you with access to expertise, services, affordable care, and better health. What will you do with more health care options, Greenville? Let's find out together. Get started at novanthealth.org/Greenville.
Hey, what's up, flies? This is David Spade.
Dana Carvey.
Look, I know we never actually left, but I'll just say it. We are back with another season of Fly on the Wall.
Every episode, including ones with guests, will now be on video. Every Thursday, you'll hear us and see us chatting with big-name celebrities.
And every Monday, you're stuck with just me and Dana. We react to news, what's trending, viral clips.
Follow and listen to Fly on the Wall everywhere you get your podcasts.
News Talk 98.9
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
WYRD FM.
WYRD HD1. Spartanburg.
Greenville.
Anderson. Clemson.
From the Carolinas 24/7 News Center.
15 minutes of nonstop breaking news and stimulating talk.
Begins now on News Talk 98.9.
98.9.
WORD. Here's this hour's big story.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD Business News.
BMW is widening a recall warning of a potential fire hazard to half a dozen models, 3 of them produced in the upstate. The notice now covers more than 341,000 vehicles. According to BMW, the starter motor might not start the engine properly. The recall targeting nearly 200,000 vehicles was posted to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's website 10 days ago. 145,000 more are being added now. It includes BMW's 340 and 840i models, plus the 740Li and the X5, X6, and X7 SUVs assembled at Plant Spartanburg. Quoting the NHTSA recall, after repeated attempts, the starter motor may overheat from an electrical overload and can ignite nearby combustible material in the engine compartment, increasing the risk of fire. BMW says there's no reports of injuries or damage. I'm Chris Lee. That's your News Talk 98.9 WORD Business News.
Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie.
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome back to the program. And no, I have not forgot about the pledge. Just got to get my computer. I decided to go to sleep here for just a little bit. And as soon as I can, we will play the Pledge of Allegiance, which we do every day right here at 4 o'clock. So here we go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
America is back.
Yes, sir. And welcome back. Glad to have you along with us, like I said, on this Monday afternoon. Well, a 1033 call. And for you folks, I mean, this is generally, it's kind of like all over the country. I know a lot of different states and things have different 10 codes. But a 1033 is a call for immediate assistance. Something horrible has happened, and the police need your help. This is like the police's version of 911, right? So if the police are out there and they go, we got a 1033 at the corner of JJ and Charlie Avenue, that is a call for everybody else to stop what they're doing and go assist those police officers. Well, a 1033 came in Chicago the other night. This is how they responded. Are you ready?
Okay. Any kind of particular hairstyle, just younger male Hispanic on foot wearing all black?
No hairstyle.
Okay, 10-4. And one is for the hit and run. This guy fled from the scene at 37th Place in Kedzie. It all occurred, started at I-55 in Kedzie. Then they fled southbound at Kedzie, where that offending vehicle crashed. They ran the federal agent off the road. They fled on foot westbound 37th Place from Kedzie. It was a male Hispanic younger wearing all black clothing. 99.
Yeah, send the cars in that direction. Have them stay put 2 or 3 blocks away, all right? Have them hold tight until I give you further direction, please.
Okay, 10-4. And for the units responding to 39th Place in Kedzie per 999, if you guys can just, for the units responding to 39th Place in Kedzie, if you guys can start heading there as quick as you can, and then just hold tight for instructions with 999.
999.
999.
So the chief of patrol, clear everybody up. We're not responding over there.
Per the chief of patrol, clear everybody out responding over there. You had ICE officers, federal officers that were surrounded by Antifa. You had one federal agent that was run off the road in a hit and run. You had a suspect. The 1033 call came, and they were told to stand down. Stand down. Well, Mayor Johnson in Chicago kind of explained a little bit about this. I swear to you, I don't get these people. I really don't. Listen to what Johnson said. Here we go. What is the job of the Chicago Police Department?
Here's what the police department will do. They're going to protect our fundamental right to be able to peacefully assemble. They know that. They're going to make sure that we are not coordinating absent a warrant and forcing our local law enforcement to dub as federal ICE agents. As far as the people of Chicago continue to stand firm, continue to document the rage that this administration is promulgating against the people of this city. And then I'm asking, of course, all of our elected officials, whether it's through executive.
No, they're not going to help federal officers. They're not going to. Don't want to. But Mayor Johnson said this as well.
I said very candidly that the right wing in this country wants a rematch of the Civil War.
Okay. Are we there yet? Because I believe we are. I think we're in the beginnings of a new civil war. And ironically, it's the folks on the left that are the new Confederacy. You see, in the old Civil War, the folks from the South considered federal overreach by the federal government to be an affront too big to ignore. Now, the folks on the left feel the same way. But you see, what we're trying to do, what the federal government is trying to do, and what a lot of the folks, the people on the right are trying to do, is make sure that we don't have criminal, illegal aliens, gang members, violent criminals running free on our streets. The folks on the left want that. The folks on the left are completely okay with that. They don't mind the gangs. They don't mind the violence. They don't mind all of that happening in their streets because they benefit from it in some way. So in the federal government, which is completely within their purview, go in to protect an ICE facility, they are allowing Antifa to wage war against them, and that's exactly what's happening. And then they refuse to assist when federal agents need assistance. So Gavin Newsom came out with this, what is it? It's some kind of a ICE-free zone. Well, former acting ICE director Jonathan Fahey commented on these so-called ice-free zones.
So Brandon Johnson is wholly against the deployment of any federal forces in Chicago, particularly federalizing the National Guard. But when you look at the crime statistics, if any city needs help, it's Chicago.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And normally, cities would welcome federal help that have crime problems. And you see in D.C., Mayor Bowser, after initial reluctance, has actually welcomed it. And the city's better off, I think, objectively. But Brandon Johnson's new executive order is pretty amazing on a couple fronts because it violates two federal laws. One, the alien harboring law, which says anything to shield illegal aliens from detection. And he specifically says, that's the purpose of it, it's also a violation of federal obstruction because it's to impede federal agents. So the big fun irony of his executive order is that it violates federal law and it's also unenforceable on its terms under the Supremacy Clause. So another stunt, but I don't even think he recognizes really what the repercussions would be if it was actually played out.
All right, so let's go back just for a second and remember what happened when Texas and all of these other southern border states tried to enforce immigration law. What was always the talking points of the folks on the left? What was the talking points of Alejandro Mayorkas and Joe Biden? You can't do that. Immigration law, immigration enforcement, that is a federal issue. And local governments, state governments, you can't do anything about it. You cannot enforce immigration in your states. That's purely up to the feds. Now, here we are, a little less than a year later, and now they want the states to be able to enforce or usurp, in this matter, immigration law. You see the hypocrisy of the left? And when I say the left loves criminals, that's exactly what I'm talking about. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
He's got a mic, a mission, and no time for nonsense. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Now we've had this big one. This is a big one.
Ransomware. Cyber attack is a wake-up call, I think, to many.
The internet is vulnerable. When they didn't want the printing press, they didn't want to empower people with their own ability to read. We can take information away with a push of a button, a delete button, and everything that you look for on the internet becomes silent. And this is something I think we need to pay attention to.
Ground Zero, tonight at 10.
And we need to take heed.
News Talk 98.9 WORD.
Weather This Hour is sponsored by TrainInfo.com. It's hard to stop a train. Train heating and cooling systems are tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit TrainInfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. TrainInfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Injured? Just call Joy Law Firm. 864-888-8888.
Looking for some iced caffeine, left you in the cold. No one knows why brown water costs as much as liquid gold. Told him your name was Brian, why does this cup say Nicole? But then you found paradise in your cup at the Quick Trip. No regrets to start your day.
Hey, it's Tara. Did you know the air in your home could be filled with dust, pollen, and even mold? Ron's Total Home Services has a powerful air duct cleaning system to remove harmful contaminants, giving you cleaner, healthier air. They also specialize in dryer, vent, and chimney cleaning to keep your family safe. And if you've been putting off that home remodel, don't wait. Don't put off that remodel any longer. Call Ron's and talk to an associate about financing your project through Hearth today. Call 864-297-6440 or go to ronstotalhomeservices.com. That's ronstotalhomeservices.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-384-9393. That's 800-384-9393.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Text or call. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, let's go to the special guest line and talk to State Representative Chris Huff, who's joining us right now. How you doing, buddy? What a night, Saturday night.
Hey, Charlie, how are you?
We're doing great, man. I had so much fun Saturday night. I mean, my wife and I really enjoyed that event out at Cityscape Winery.
Brother, it was great to have you and your wonderful wife with us, and your words at the head of the day today, start of your show, too kind. We appreciate that so much, and all that you do for the conservative movement, not only in the upstate, but across the state.
And we got to make sure that everybody gets out there and votes, because all of those things that I laid out to start the show, I mean, we could make change, but we've got to be the ones to do it, right?
Absolutely. If we don't have turnout, then we're kind of tossing the coin up in the air and letting somebody else choose which side it lands on, right? I mean, It's just crazy. We've got to have turnout. We've got to have people who believe in the values that we all espouse here to come out and to show their support and to be a voice. You talked about the percentages. The percentages are just heartbreaking when you see the percentage of turnout.
Yeah.
Especially at a special election or, a non-presidential term election. it's horrible to see just how dismal those turnouts are. And you know, people talk all the time about wanting to have a voice. That is your opportunity to have your voice.
Yeah.
And you give it away when you don't show up, you know?
So, I know everybody's making plans right now, but I am just going to assume that in the political sphere, midnight, New Year's, everything's really going to start ramping up.
You know, this is such we've got some really big contests right now in this state. I'm seeing it a little earlier right now.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of folks really kind of hitting things. I was with Ralph at 2 different locations today. So,
wow.
You know, I heard you talking about those roads. We did a press conference at the DOT office talking about the fact that, you know, the solution is there. We get questions all the time about the possibility of another gas tax or a penny tax or a whatever tax. Look, we don't need more taxes. What we need is people to prioritize spending on infrastructure, on core government functions, and obviously roads. I don't know how you get any more core than roads, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we've got to do. We've got to make sure that we prioritize the solutions, and the solution is let's get people out there. Let's fix these bridges. Let's fix these roads. Let's do what needs to be done in order to make it happen. The money's there.
Right.
It's not an issue of money. It's an issue of priorities.
And it's just been mismanaged, all the way around. So, again, we got to get out there and vote. Chris, again, great night the other night. I want to remind people that all of these folks that are actually campaigning on making changes, they need your change. They need your donations, right?
Yeah, we talked about it the other night. You know, everybody thinks they've got to be a $500 or $1,000 donor. No, a $20 donor makes a huge difference when we get enough of them. You know, $120 donors makes a huge difference, especially in a state house race, but even in Ralph's race. I mean, guys, don't think that you can't be part of the solution or a huge part of the process. When you make a donation, no matter how much it is, we put it together and we all use it to make good things happen for the state, for the people of our districts.
Absolutely. Chris Huff, always a pleasure, sir. We'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks for all you do, brother.
Take care. We had to do again. That was a great night last night. I was talking with Ralph Norman, Congressman Ralph Norman. Ralph, as I call him. No, I don't. And we were talking, and he reached into his jacket pocket. And I thought for a moment, just for a brief moment, that he was going to pull out one of his special Congressman Ralph Norman, congressional challenge coins. He'd already given it to one person that night. I thought I was going to get one too, but I didn't. Doggone it. One day I'll get one of those coins. But Chris is right. You can support these people in words. You can support them with your vote. But they need the financial support as well. And it doesn't have to be a big donation. But I want you to remember that all those people that have caused all of these problems here in South Carolina, they've got special interest donations. They've got these huge PAC donations. They've got all their crony capitalist donations. They've got the whole good old boy system donations. So we need to fight against that and make those donations on our own. And that's the only way we're going to make change here in South Carolina. Speaking of coins, you might have thought it was fake news. You might have thought it was another little a goof from the Trump administration, or a spoof, rather. But no, it's real. A portrait of President Donald Trump may be featured on a commemorative $1 U.S. coin issued by the United States Mint in honor of America's 250th birthday coming up next year. As according to the first drafts of the images confirmed by the U.S. Treasury. No fake news here, U.S. Treasurer Brandon Beach said in response to images of the coin on X. These first drafts honoring America's 250th birthday and the president are real. Looking forward to sharing more soon once the obstructionist shutdown of the United States government is over. The draft images show Trump's side profile on the front with liberty at the top and In God We Trust on the bottom, and the date 1776, 2026 on the reverse, on the front. On the reverse is that famous image of Trump raising his fist in the air after the Butler assassination attempt with the words "fight, fight, fight" at the top and the American flag billowing behind. Now, remember, this is a commemorative coin. It's not going to be put into circulation or anything like that. But do I want one? I'm going to take a $100 bill, and I'm going to go get me 100 of them. That's what I'm going to do, JJ. That's what I'm going to do, my friend. I'm going to get out. Yes, I'm going to have me some fight, fight, fight coins. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
This is the Charlie James Show. The right talk. Now more than ever on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas. Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Did y'all hear that story by from Stacey Bartrow about the corn dog recall? Because it got wood in them. Don't all corn dogs have wood in them? I mean, literally, you got a hot dog, you got cornmeal, and a big old wood rod going right through the corn dog. They've all got. Y'all send those corn dogs to me. I'll eat around those wood chunks. I promise you. They got me wanting corn dogs really bad right now. Well, the left is finally admitting that little bit of wordplay that they've been doing. And I told you about this right after this stuff started. In fact, I was one of the first people to tell you about this. It was all about legal residency or being here legally. Now, the talking points over on the left is that no illegal alien is receiving benefits from the federal government, which is against the law, by the way. But the rub is, what do they consider illegal? You see, when those people, you want to talk about illegal. When those people came to this country illegally and they crossed the border and they came in contact with a Border Patrol agent, what were they given? They were given a parole. They paroled them. It was an automatic parole. Now, here's your parole. You're out on parole now, so you mind your P's and Q's. And you come back for your court order date when we contact you. And that might be 2-3 years from now. Yeah, Jay just said the 12th will never. Yeah, exactly. So from then until now, the folks on the left did not consider these people here illegally. That's the little bit of wordplay that they're putting in there. And now they're even starting to admit it.
The program worked better for the people who depend upon it.
They also say millions of Americans will lose access to Medicaid because of that. But I want to stay focused.
Not Americans, illegal aliens and
I think we both know
workers.
that that's a misleading point here because this is talking about people with legal status, not people who are here illegally.
Not true. Remember that under the 4 years of the Biden administration, when they opened the border wide and we had about 20 million illegal aliens come into the country, they just granted a asylum and parole status to everybody.
Recognize what you're saying, but it's people who were granted asylum or parole, and so they were working through the process legally. But I want to get you on
We can debate that at length, yeah.
We could debate it at length, and if you want.
But I just don't have time. We could debate it at length, but I don't have time because I'll lose that debate. They were given parole by the Biden administration. That's what they do. But they're still illegal. You see, that was the big problem of the Biden administration. Oh, Alejandro Mayorkas, no, the border is secure. Remember how many times you did? No. You know when the border is secure? Right now. October 6th of 2025. And basically has been secure since January the 20th of this year. That's when the border was secure. Before that, wide open, everybody come through. Come on in. Yeah, here's a parole. There's a pardon. There's a pardon. There's a pardon. They're like Oprah. Everybody gets a pardon. There were murderers. There were rapists. There were thieves. There were human traffickers, drug traffickers crossing our border, and they didn't care. They did not care who came across our border, because their hope was that one day they would get American citizenship and they would vote for the Democrats. That was the plan. It was the world's biggest voter drive that anybody's ever seen. That's what they've been doing. And that's why and again, one of the most fun things about this shutdown, and it really has been hilarious, has been the sombrero memes. They are wonderful. Now, they're dying down a little bit right now, just a little bit, but people are still out there. They're making them. They're hilarious. And it all started with this one that President Trump posted over on Truth Social.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of at least for a while, until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing, though. The left came out. They were upset because they don't meme well. Their memes fall flat on their faces. They're horrible. And because they don't have a sense of humor. Because in order to have a sense of humor, you need to have a little joy in your heart somewhere. The folks on the left, they are devoid of joy. They just don't have it. Nothing is fun for them. Everything is a crisis. Could you imagine going through life where everything was a crisis? Oh my gosh. No wonder they age so quickly. They really do. Yeah, they just make up these crises. So, Nicole Wallace. Now, remember when Gavin Newsom made a feeble attempt to try to meme and post like Donald Trump? He wasn't really good at it. But Nicole Wallace over at MSNBC, she thought it was wonderful.
This untapped power that Gavin Newsom, I think, is tapping into. I mean, they're just freaking out. They have entire panels dedicated to deciding whether it's, beneath the stature of an elected official to tweet the things Gavin Newsom's tweeting. The whole notion that the right is an absolute puddle of snowflakes has been exposed by Gavin Newsom.
Now, let's listen. That was Nicole Wallace then when Gavin Newsom was trying to post like Donald Trump. Now let's listen to Nicole Wallace with the sombrero memes.
It is crass. It is vulgar. It's, of course, unpresidential. It's dumb. Leader Jeffries is pictured wearing a sombrero and a fake mustache, while Schumer goes about making a fake speech he never actually said or delivered. Mike Johnson doesn't know if a picture of Leader Hakeem Jeffries donning a sombrero and a mustache is or is not racist.
So they don't know. They don't know. Let's go to Christina in Travelers Rest and talk to her. Christina, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad to hear, I think you said it yesterday, that you and Sheila are going to start to play pickleball again. Yay!
Yes, we are. We are going to, but unfortunately, my beautiful bride has hurt her back a little bit, so we couldn't play this weekend. But we will get it back out there now that it's getting cooler. Absolutely. What's on your mind?
I wanted to say, no one ever listens to me. Tomorrow is October 7th.
Yes.
For the last 2 years, I've been trying to say that whenever that word, October 7th, or when the atrocities of that day is brought up, it should be just like Burger King, Waffle House. What should be connected on to the end of that is October 7th, which happened during a ceasefire.
Yeah.
That should always, when October 7th is uttered, it should always have that other phrase on it.
Yeah. Hamas broke the ceasefire, and that's the reason for it. I appreciate it, Christina. Thank you very much. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on The Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Tap and type your message on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Well, here we are, October the 6th. No hurricanes have hit the United States. None of them. Now, wait a minute. Wasn't there somebody about a year ago? Yeah, it was about a year ago. Somebody was saying that there was only one way to prevent hurricanes from hitting the United States. Oh, that's right. It was Bill Nye, the so-called science guy.
As we often call it, has no plans to address climate change. No plans for long-term dealing with these sorts of problems. If you have young voters out there, encourage them to vote. People say, what can I do about climate change? If we were talking about it, associating it with big storms like this, that would be really good. But the main thing is vote. Thank you.
And Bill, very quickly, how much of an impact do you see climate change playing in all of these explanations that you've given us? How much do you see climate change as being a part of that?
Oh, it's no question, everybody. Look,
No question.
In climate science, everybody has been studying this for years. Everybody has been commenting, scientific papers have been written about how warm the ocean is around the Florida Peninsula. And it's this warm water that is driving these storms and enabling it to have to intensify so quickly. Everybody, be careful out there.
Yeah, that was a year ago. That the only way that you were going to prevent hurricanes from hitting the United States was to vote for Kamala Harris. That was it. No other way whatsoever. But we have known, and here we are, like I said, October the 6th. No hurricanes. We are in the height of hurricane season right now. This is it. This is the peak. Where are they? But they've lied about all of this before. They've been lying about this for, I don't know, 50 years now? Right? 50 years they've been lying about this. Back in 1967, it's just a few of them. It's just like just a little sample. 1967, dire famine forecast by 1975. Didn't happen. 1969, everyone will disappear in a cloud of blue steam by 1989. Really? Oh, okay. 1970, ice age by 2000. 1970, America subject to water rationing by 74 and food rationing by 1980. 1971, new ice age coming by 2020 or 2030. Wow. 1972, new ice age by 2070. 1974, space satellites show new ice age coming fast. 1974, ozone depletion, great peril for life on Earth. 1976, famines imminent. 1980, we all remember this, acid rain kills life in lakes. 1978, no end in sight to 30-year cooling trend. 1988, regional droughts that never happened in the 1990s. 1988, temperatures in D.C. will hit record highs. 1988 also, Maldive Islands will be underwater by 2018. They're not. We're well past 2018. 2014, we've only got 500 days until climate chaos. 2013, Arctic ice free by 2015. Ooh. 1966, oil gone in 10 years. 1972, oil gone in 20 years. 1977, oil gone in the 1990s. Okay. 1970, urban citizens will require a gas mask by 1985. 1970, nitrogen buildup will make all land unusable. Let's see. Good grief. 1972, pending depletion and shortages of gold, tin, oil, natural gas, copper, and aluminum. 1970, oceans dead in a decade. U.S. water rationing by 1974, food rationing by 90. They have lied to you and lied to you and lied to you because they don't count on us having a memory. Everything in Al Gore's movie that he won a Nobel Peace Prize for, An Inconvenient Truth, none of it has come true. And all of the expiration dates that he put in that movie have come and gone. By the year 2020, there will be no ice on Kilimanjaro. Well, it's there. By 2020, our children will not know what snow is, but they do. And then you got Bill Nye. The only way we can stop this is to vote for Kamala Harris and spend more money. More money, more money, more money. That's all they ever want to spend. More money, more money. And I love how he talks about climate scientists. Okay, where do so-called climate scientists, where do they get their money to do their research? Some of it comes from tax dollars, but some of it comes from the environmental groups that hire them to do their studies. Now, if you are a so-called climate scientist and an environmental group is paying you to come up with your study, what do you think your study is going to tell them? It's going to tell them exactly what they want to hear. They've been using computer models to predict a lot of these things. Computer models. And that's nothing but a guess. The only thing a computer spits out is what somebody puts in. They've been caught. They've been caught before. They've been caught putting thermometers next to the exhaust of an air conditioning unit. We all know that your AC blows out hot air. Hot air goes out, the cooled air goes in. So they put these thermometers right there. In Charleston, they put their official thermometers to determine when the horse carriages can go out. You know, there's a certain temperature that they can't go out. They put those on the tops of buildings. On the tops of buildings. Where the asphalt is just sitting there with no shade, no anything, just baking in the sun. That's where they put the thermometers to make those decisions. They don't put them in Marion Square. They don't put them down in the Battery. No, they put them right up there at the top. They put thermometers at airports. Now, I don't know, when was the last time you went to an airport? Not a lot of trees in an airport, is there? No, but there's a lot of jet exhaust. There's a lot of, service vehicle exhaust. There's a lot of car exhaust. There's a lot of concrete. That's a little heat island, and that's where they put these things. So, no, sorry, climate scientist. You have struck out again, Bill Nye, the so-called science guy. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Not just chatter, local issues that matter. This is the Charlie James Show
on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
The violence against ICE agents is, getting way out of hand. Over 1,000% increase across the country in attacks on ICE and Border Patrol. And this past weekend, we saw it happening in Chicago, and they were given a stand-down order. The 1033 call came in. Let's take a listen to the stand-down order when ICE agents said that they needed the help of the Chicago Police Department. Let's take a listen.
Okay. Any kind of particular hairstyle, just younger male Hispanic, on foot, wearing all black?
No hairstyle.
Okay, 10-4. And one is for the hit and run. This guy fled from the scene at 37th Place in Kedzie. It all started at I-55 in Kedzie. Then they fled southbound at Kedzie, where that offending vehicle crashed. They ran the federal agent off the road. They fled on foot westbound 37th Place from Kedzie. It was a male Hispanic younger wearing all black clothing. 99.
Yeah, send the cars in that direction. Have them stay put 2 or 3 blocks away, all right? Have them hold tight until I give you further direction, please.
Okay, 10-4. And for the units responding to 39th Place in Kedzie per 999, if you guys can just... For the units responding to 39th Place in Kedzie, if you guys can start heading there as quick as you can, and then just hold tight for instructions with 999.
999.
999.
For the chief of patrol, clear everybody up. We're not responding.
Per the chief of patrol, John Hine, clear everybody out. Do not assist. You had federal agents surrounded by Antifa. It was a violent situation. And John Hine, the chief of patrol, told them to clear out. That's amazing. John Catanzara, the Chicago Fraternal Order of Police president, had this to say.
$9.99. And I could tell you, I personally know that lieutenant, and he has an impeccable record. On the other hand, the chief of patrol, not so much. He's been notorious for lying and stomping on anybody to get to where he's gotten to this point. Do I think he gave that order? Absolutely. And I think the lieutenant was just relaying what that phone call reiterated to him to not send anybody over there, because sadly this department is in literally a shell of itself and so fearful of what politicians and this mayor are going to do to them if they respond. Every single citizen, the sanctity of life is what this city supposedly cares about. That doesn't discriminate between civil law enforcement. If someone's calling for help, we are obligated to go. And this person should be taken out of his basically assignment right now, stripped of his police powers and removed from command.
And he should be. Absolutely. That would be like not responding to a mayday. That's what a 1033 call is. Basically a mayday. You guys need to get here as quick. But they didn't. They ignored it. They ignored it. Brandon Johnson, the mayor, confirmed that officers were told to stand down.
Confirming the reports that Chicago police were ordered to stand down when ICE agents were surrounded and rammed by cars. And do you want Chicago police not to help ICE agents?
Our police officers respond to every single emergency in this city. The brave women and men who sign up to serve and protect this city are committed to keeping us safe. And what we have made very clear is through our Welcoming City Ordinance, when it comes to civil immigration enforcement, absent a warrant, our police department will not dub as federal ICE agents. In fact, we believe it's antithetical to driving violence down in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, to help ICE agents. Yeah, that's it. Well, Chicago police officers aren't very happy. This is from Fox News.
From a lot of rank-and-file Chicago cops who say that they are outraged that they were ordered to stand down after federal agents were attacked. The communication for the stand down appears to have come from the chief of patrol himself over the communications platform with the Office of Emergency Management and Communication, reading very clearly, no units will respond to this. Multiple police sources have confirmed that that message is authentic, and it is backed up by audio of the stand-down order.
So the chief of patrol clear everybody up. We're not responding over there.
All right, and 999, just to confirm, 39th Police in Kedzie, they were saying that they were being surrounded by that large crowd, and they were requesting the police were not sending, waving off all the cars heading to 39th Police in Kedzie.
Again, those are the orders we're being given.
We're hearing from a lot of...
Those are the orders. Do not respond. This is the Chicago Police Superintendent, Larry Snelling.
We don't have to agree with it. It doesn't matter. You don't have to agree with it. We do not interfere with their orders. And when they go out to carry out their orders, they will do that the way that they're trained to do it and their understanding of what it is they have to do. Another one. CPD will not arrest and cannot arrest federal agents because someone deems what they're doing is illegal or unlawful. Their rules of engagement are different from CPD and other local law enforcement agents. We need to be clear about this. If we're not clear about this, we will see another event like we saw Saturday. We cannot move like this in this city. If we want to keep the peace in this city, we need to be smart about how we do things.
Well, the smartest thing you could do, Chicago Superintendent Larry Snelling, is arrest the criminals. That is a federal facility. That is a federal facility that is under control of the United States federal government. And they have the authority to protect that facility, to protect everyone in that facility, and to protect all of the ICE agents that are working there. That's their authority. And they are exercising that authority. Your job should be to support them. Okay, maybe you don't, and again, like the superintendent said, maybe you don't agree with them. But when they are being attacked, they've got one of two choices. Draw your weapons and fire, or call Chicago police. But here's what I think they want to happen. I think that people like John Hine and Brandon Johnson want. Now, this has already happened because a woman pointed a firearm at a Border Patrol agent. She found out. But they want more of that to happen. They want people to be injured by Border Patrol, and that way you're going to have one heck of a riot on your hands. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on The Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas. Chat with Charlie.
800-905-0989. Save it on your phone.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome back to the program. Glad to have you along with us. Well, first of all, before we do that, let's go to Cassandra in Greenville and talk to her. Cassandra, welcome.
Hi, Charlie.
Hello.
Hi. Charlie, I'm calling because I think the audience would like to hear the rules that the police force in Illinois and Chicago live under. These were put in place during the Biden era, the Safety Act deal, and I just thought I'd quickly read them. There aren't too many, but they're amazing.
Yeah.
And makes a lot of things understandable. Bullet. No more arrests for trespassing peeping toms. Police will be prohibited from arresting offenders for Class B misdemeanors like criminal trespassing or window peeking. Officers can issue a citation, but will no longer have the authority to remove a person from private or public property.
Okay.
Okay, Bullet. Officers can, I'm so sorry, Bullet. Offenders can flee free. Illinois police officers will be restricted in using force when pursuing a fleeing offender if the officer reasonably believes the person can be apprehended at a later date. Bullet, taser, precision required. Illinois police officers will be prosecuted if they shoot a taser at an offender's back, pelvis, or head. Taser training recommends these three targets specifically to be effective.
Yeah.
Bullet. Individual officers can be fined by the Illinois Attorney General up to $25,000 for anything he deems a violation of a person's constitutional rights.
You see that? Yeah, I mean, I understand all that. I mean, they're trying to take away the power of policing from the Chicago Police Department, and they've been very successful. Cassandra, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But I got to move on here because they had these ICE officers boxed in. Now, Governor Pritzker, and then you've got him, you've got Amy Duckworth. They're denying this happened. Wait a minute.
Incidents were federal agents boxed in and assaulted.
Well, we don't have a lot of facts. What happens in these sorts of incidents is typically ICE puts out a press release before anybody else can speak with the press, and then it gets reported on social media and elsewhere. So they are just putting out their propaganda.
She claims that federal agents were surrounded and were threatened. What are local authorities telling you about what they think happened here?
Well, they lie, right? The Trump administration lies. We have a president who's a known liar, and they have been lying about the situation all along.
Now, let's listen to the superintendent of police.
They're agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed.
Hey, you're exactly right. So Pritzker, Duckworth, they're the liars in this thing. They're the liars. But if you need more evidence, if you need any more evidence whatsoever, like I always say, the left is the most violent among us. They're the ones. If it wasn't proven to you in Butler, Pennsylvania, with the attempted assassination of President Trump, if it wasn't proven to you with the second attempted assassination of President Trump down in Florida, if it wasn't proven to you at Utah Valley State University with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, maybe this will. I don't know. It didn't take that many for me. We've seen what they do. But there is this guy, Jay Jones. Jay Jones. He's a Democrat candidate for Attorney General of Virginia, the AG spot, the top law enforcement official of Virginia. And he's talking about his opponent, Todd Gilbert. In this text message, he's talking about Todd Gilbert and Gilbert's wife. He says, if those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals and urinate, he uses a different term, and urinate on their graves. Send them out awash in something. The person he was talking to said, Jay Jones, 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. Jay, please stop. Okay. It really bothers me when you talk about hurting people or wishing death upon them. So, obviously, this isn't the only time he's done it. You weren't simply asking questions, and you know it. I genuinely was. I wasn't attacking you, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. Jay, I point blank asked you more than 3 times, and you dug your heels in and you meant it. I honestly am questioning a lot today. He said, I do think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists. Yes. That's Jay Jones, the Democrat candidate for Attorney General of Virginia, calling for the assassination of his political opponent. That literally. But are people going to defend this? Of course. Neera Tanden, nothing to see here.
But can I also say in your interview with Leader Jeffries that can we stop with the pearl-clutching about the mean tweets and sombrero tweets? That this week it came to light that a Democrat candidate for Attorney General State of Virginia called for the assassination of a political opponent, called for the assassination of that political opponent's family, and there's not one national Democrat calling for him to step aside. Not one. It's disgraceful.
Neera, let me let you respond to that because that is going to be a big story, I think, in the coming days.
I mean,
And then we'll go to Andrea.
I absolutely think people should criticize that 100%. I think it was a private conversation he had, but still awful and disgusting. Wasn't calling for it public. But
I think it was a private conversation that he had, and it was awful and disgusting, but I think it's completely okay. Well, the folks over at Morning Joe, they didn't take it so lightly.
Is apologizing for his texts about a state lawmaker. We'll go through what the messages said.
Probably be forced to withdraw from the race, and probably is doing a lot there.
All right.
Yeah, he should be forced from the race. Absolutely. He said he wanted Todd Gilbert's wife to watch her children die in front of her. That, folks, is the Democrat Party. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Keeping Carolina conservative. It's the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Interact on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. Text or call. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
There are three groups of people in this country. Those of us who love Donald Trump, I'm one of those. I think he's fantastic. Then there's the group out there that doesn't like Donald Trump. They hate him because they're communists. They're globalists. They don't like Donald Trump. And then there's the group out there that likes Donald Trump, but they just can't admit that they like Donald Trump. And those are the people that are the really the most confused. Because they're sitting around going, man, I really like Trump, but I can't admit it. I can't admit that I like Donald Trump. I can't admit it, but they will. Eventually, they will. Well, this woman, ladies and gentlemen, has absolutely had it with Donald Trump.
Dear Donald Trump, I cannot take it anymore. I am at the limit of what I can handle from your comedy sketch writers. My sides hurt to the point from laughing so hard that I can't physically take it anymore. Biden as an auto pen? Like, who came up with that? Genius. When you showed up in a garbage truck at a rally, I was dying back then. Like, you working at the McDonald's drive-through window. The mariachi band popping up behind somebody who's basically threatening to punch you in the face the next time he sees you. Way to answer. See, I'm back from the 1970s. I was born back in a time where they had a thing called a sense of humor. And so, to me, the best way to fight back is just make them laugh. If you can. Make them, I don't know. I'm sure this is not making any of them laugh. But what I would say is if Jimmy Kimmel had your sketch writers, he wouldn't be getting his butt handed to him on late night television right now. So anyway, please stop. I can't take laughing this hard anymore. Love ya.
Love ya. Love ya. He is hilarious. He is hilarious. Oh, and by the way, remember when Jimmy Kimmel and everybody made a big hoopla over Jimmy Kimmel coming back to his show? Remember that? Everybody's like, well, finally, free speech has finally. Well, Jimmy Kimmel got a little bit of a bump there in the ratings because everybody wanted to see what he was going to say. And that bump did not last long. Jimmy Kimmel has already lost 70% of his audience has simply gone away because they were like, let's see what this is all about. And then he started opening his mouth and they were like, well, that's enough of that. I don't need to ever watch that again. So, yeah, she's right. She's been a little facetious there, but Trump's been hilarious. And I'm going to disagree with a little bit. I think even the Democrats believe those memes are funny. I really do. Now, again, they're the people that can't admit it. But they're like chuckling under their breath every time they see Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero. It is a scream. And if they'd have just shut up about it, if they would have just not said anything and ignored it, it would have gone away. But they didn't. They went on and they cried and they whined and they complained and all of that. And then people were like, well, let's keep this going. And they did. It's starting to wane a little bit now, but boy, they were out there just absolutely. I don't know how these people make these videos. I don't know what program they're using. If you guys got any ideas, I would love to make some of these videos for myself, but I don't know what program they're using, but they are really, really good. They really are. Well, we got some other news breaking today. Jack Smith. You know Jack Smith? You know the whole Russia investigation, Arctic Frost? Remember that? Arctic Frost. Now, this was, in case you missed this, this was Barack Hussein Obama colluding against President Trump with the likes of Jim Comey, Durham, you've got Clapper, you got Brennan, you got all of these people, Loretta Lynch, all these people conspiring to prevent Donald Trump from winning the 2016 election. Okay? Now, that was a thing. So then when he won the 2016 election, their goal was then to delegitimize his presidency. That was the whole goal. By claiming that he was somehow in league with Vladimir Putin and Russia. Somehow doing that. Well, Jack Smith was, we all remember the raid on Mar-a-Lago, right? Jack Smith was actually investigating congressmen. Oh, not all congressmen, just Republicans. This is Senator Ron Johnson.
I've been investigating this with Senator Grassley. This doesn't surprise me, but it should shock every American of what the Biden administration has done. And by the way, this is the first time I was targeted by the FBI. Under the Obama administration, the same thing happened to both Senator Grassley and I. As part of the Foreign Influence Task Force, we were giving a briefing to try and convince us that the Hunter Biden laptop was no big deal. Basically, trying to throw us off the track. So this is major corruption that's being revealed inside the Obama and Biden Department of Justice, the FBI. And I'll turn it over to, I guess, Senator Hagerty, who's one of the individuals. Again, none of us were subject or targets of this investigation. There's no predicate. There's no reason for this other than a fishing expedition, which, again, should outrage and shock every American.
And you should be shocked and outraged. You should be. There was no reason to investigate Johnson, Grassley, Hagerty, anybody. But like Johnson said, this was a fishing expedition. This was, show me the man and I'll show you the crime. Now, I said long ago that the Biden administration was the most corrupt administration that we have ever had. I don't even think we've fully gotten into just how corrupt Joe Biden was. Now we're finding out exactly how corrupt Obama was. Remember the whole scandal-free presidency that everybody claimed he had? Apparently not. This guy was he ended his so-called political career, because we know it's still continuing. But he ended his presidency the same way he started his political career, by attacking his opponents and trying to dig up dirt on them. Well, he was running for, I believe it was city council in Chicago, running to be alderman or whatever they call him. He dug up dirt on his opponent, and he won that contest. And now we find out that he's done it throughout his presidency, and that is pretty shocking. All right, when we get back, the Democrats are demanding to keep the government open, that we have baking classes for male prostitutes. Not lying about that. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, it's Tara. I do the homework and give you the facts every morning starting at 6 on The Tara Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
We all know that the Democrats are leaving or holding the American people hostage. And it's because of things they want. They want more spending. Now, this resolution that we have had it's called a clean CR. In other words, the Republicans haven't put any more spending. They haven't taken anything away. The funding that we have now is what the Democrats voted for. Remember, Chuck Schumer voted for the one big beautiful bill. And that's the spending level that we're at. And that's the spending level that the Republicans want to continue. So you had all but one Republican vote for the continuing resolution, right? Well. That's ridiculous. Because the Democrats out there saying, no, this is a Republican shutdown. No. This is a Democrat shutdown. Pure and simple. Caroline Leavitt has showed proof of this. And it's proof that the Democrats are always going to deny. They're going to deny all of that. But she has showed proof that the Democrats will only reopen the government if they get health care for illegal aliens. Listen to this.
The Democrats' current position is that the only way the American government can reopen is if illegal aliens can get free health care. Don't take my word for it, just look at what's inside of the Democrats' proposal to reopen the government. Their funding proposal would result in nearly $200 billion spent on health care for illegal aliens and other non-citizens over the next decade. To put this in perspective, $200 billion is enough money to fund the entire children's health insurance program, which provides health insurance to low-income children and women. Under the Democrats' proposal, the millions of illegal aliens who improperly were granted asylum and paroled under the Biden administration would once again be allowed to receive Medicaid. The Democrats...
And she's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Showed proof. Now, remember when Biden and Mayorkas just started giving these people parole at the border, when they came across, made contact with a Border Patrol agent, and they were given a pardon or a parole, not a pardon, a parole. You're on parole until you come back. None of that went through Congress. None of that had any congressional approval whatsoever. That was just a policy put forth by the Biden administration. No Congress necessary. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. So Mike Johnson was talking with Ali Vitali over on MSNBC, of course.
The program work better for the people who depend upon it.
They also say millions of Americans will lose access to Medicaid because of that. But I want to stay focused.
Not Americans, illegal aliens and able-bodied workers.
I think we both know that that's a misleading point here because this is talking about people with legal status, not people who are here illegally.
Not true. Remember that under the 4 years of the Biden administration, when they opened the border wide and we had about 20 million illegal aliens come into the country, they just granted a asylum and parole status to
recognize
everybody.
what you're saying, but it's people who were granted asylum or parole, and so they were working through the process legally. But I want to get you on
We can debate that at length, yeah.
And you should, but she won't. She won't, because she knows she'll lose that debate. If it was and remember, we have not had, even under this president, Donald John Trump, we have not had a new immigration law since George W. Bush. Everything else has been policy. So under the Biden administration, under Mayorkas, under Merrick Garland, they decided that it was policy to grant these people parole and so-called legal status when they come across the border. Well, that's no. Nobody gave them the authority to do that. You can't just change the law. But that's what they did. And now they're claiming that these people have some sort of legal status so they can get. So the whole lie has just been built on wordplay. That's all it's been. Are you here legally or illegally? Many other people would say they're here illegally because they came across the border illegally, but they were given these paroles, and now they got to show up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now, whenever their court date is. And until then, the Democrats and their cohorts over on the mainstream media consider these people to have legal status. And we all know that's not true. But now they're finally admitting that, yes, they are getting all of this health care, $200 billion worth of health care. That's our money. That's money that should be going to people, the American citizens who actually need it. American citizens on Medicaid and on Medicare that have trouble. Notice how much trouble people have getting their Medicare and their Medicaid if you're an American citizen. If you're not, it's a real simple process. But they were having their health care taken care of, their housing taken care of, their electricity bills taken care of. They were having their cable paid. Cable? You got to be kidding me, Charlie. It's surely the American taxpayer wasn't paying for their cable. Yeah, paying for the cable. So they could get online and watch what? ESPN or ESPN Deportes or whatever. In fact, Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey diverted, now this is just in Massachusetts, their governor diverted $100 million in taxpayer funds to provide illegal immigrant families with $30,000 for housing over 2 years, $4,000 a month in EBT, $500 for food, free health care, and free cable services. When was the last time you paid your cable bill? When was the last time you complained about your cable bill? Dang, if you were only an illegal alien, all of that would have been given to you for free. But what other free handouts do the Democrats want to give? Oh, they are many. They are many. Not only are they many, they are ridiculous as well. They are crazy. We will run some of those down for you when we get back. And John Solomon is confirming that a foreign power actually did interfere in our election on behalf of Hillary Clinton. And surprise, surprise, it ain't Russia. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Grit, truth, and a whole lot of common sense. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie.
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Coming up on Monday, October is it the 18th? What am I? Is it the 13th? I don't know why it's wrong over on our website. Coming up on Monday, October 13th, Tara and I are going to be hosting the Defending Free Speech One Campus at a Time event. It's going to be at the historic Greer Depot. It's brought to you by the 4th District Republican Club and others there. It's going to be an amazing event. We're going to have Alan Wilson there. We're going to have local leaders from Turning Point USA and College Republicans. And there's been a lot of talk about freedom of speech, especially after all of those. And it did seem to come from our colleges and universities. These people that were celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. And how far does freedom of speech go? And to whom does it apply? Now, it applies to everybody, but who can actually do something about what you say? We'll talk. There's going to be a lot of intricacies here. Alan Wilson is going to be there again. That is Monday, October the 13th, 6:45 at the historic Greer Depot. It's going to be amazing. Really looking forward to that. As Attorney General Alan Wilson breaks down and tells us what constitutional free speech really means. So again, Tara and I are going to be there. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Well, the Democrats right now are holding us hostage. They're holding America hostage because there's certain things that they want. Now, I just kind of laid out for you. They of course, they want free health care for illegal aliens. We know that. But there are more things that they want. And they get more ridiculous as you hear about them. This is Senator John Kennedy laying out what some of these Democrats want in this $1.5 trillion additional spending that they're asking for in order for our military to be paid.
Basically, President Trump just said, we want you to take some stuff out of the budget that we think is wasteful. And we did. And that upset the Congresswoman. She's entitled to be upset.
He's talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
If she wants to. But that really upset the socialist wing of the party. And so we took out, and here's what they want us to put back in. We found that under President Biden, they were spending $3 million for circumcisions and vasectomies in Zambia. We took that out. The Congresswoman says, we're going to shut down government until you put that back in. We found $500,000 of American taxpayer money for electric buses in Rwanda. We found $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti. I kid you not. I'm not making this up. It was in the budget under President Biden. We took it out. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez in the socialist wing, the loon wing of the Democratic Party, says we're going to shut down government until you put it back in. I'll just read you a few more that we took out. They are demanding we put back in. $6 million for media organizations for the Palestinians. $833,000 for transgender people in Nepal. $300,000 for a pride parade in Lesotho. $882,000 for social media and mentorship in Serbia. $4.2 million. We took it out. The Congresswoman and the socialist wing of their party says we've got to put that back in for the open government. $4.2 million for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex people in the Western Balkans and Uganda. I could spend the rest of the afternoon here.
Can you believe that? That's what they want. For that, they're holding the American people hostage. $3 million for circumcisions and vasectomies in Zambia? I mean, really? I wonder what the anti-circumcision crowd, how they feel about that. There is a crowd out there that's against it. So in Zambia, and if you look at it, let's just take a look. Zambian population, 21.31 million. And they want how much? $3 million for circumcisions and vasectomies in Zambia? $3 million for a population of 21 million? Those are some expensive circumcisions, y'all. 833,000 for transgender people in Nepal. 4.2 million for LGBTQ folks in Western Balkans and Uganda. 3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti. 3.6 million. I'm wondering how many male prostitutes they have in Haiti. That it was, first of all, that any of them would want to take a pastry cooking class. 500,000 for electric buses in Rwanda that'll never be charged. 6 million for media organizations for the Palestinians. 300,000 for a pride parade in Lesotho. I've never even heard of that place. Let's just take a look. What's the population of Lesotho? Let's just take a look real quick. 2.3 million. And they want to spend $300,000 for a pride parade there. $822,000 for social media and mentorship in Serbia. That's what they want to spend. But Caroline Leavitt is laying it down to them because if something doesn't get done by midnight tonight, people are going to start hurting.
While President Trump continues to negotiate peace deals, meets with world leaders, and celebrates the 250th birthday of our United States Navy, as you saw he and the First Lady do just yesterday, Democrats, unfortunately, are continuing to play political games. And we are now in day 6 of the Democrat federal government shutdown. Millions of American federal workers are under enormous financial stress as a result, wondering how they will pay their bills and take care of their families. If the Democrats do not vote to open the government tonight, federal workers will not receive their next full paycheck. Additionally, the special supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, and children will run out of federal money very soon. This program provides vouchers to buy infant formula, fresh fruits and vegetables, and other healthy foods for low-income families.
But by golly, we got to have some pastry cooking classes for male prostitutes in Haiti. 3.6 million worth. Let's go to JR in Westminster. How you doing, bud? 3.6 million.
Oh man, I would like to see a video of that, boy. You can't make that up, Charlie.
Yeah.
I can't. I know you're not making it up.
No.
Wow. Well, listen, I'm just going to speak because you know me. You know I am the most conservative black voice in the United States of America, and there are some great voices. But, you know, I'm not politically correct. I'm not woke. So, but I will say this to the president in discharging National Guard and federal troops to these cities, and many of these cities, it's in the, you know, with the exception of the nut jobs in Portland. Many of these areas, they are urban areas. And so to many of these minorities, I simply say shame on you. Shame on there are no fathers in these homes. These black pastors are not speaking out against these communities that are breeding these rebels and these revolutionaries and criminals. These black politicians in these Democrat-run cities that are importing illegal criminals. You have unfortunately created this problem and allowed it to fester and grow, and so now you're reaping the whirlwind. So don't get mad. Now there are many who are happy about it, but
yeah,
to the leftists and the black politicians and unfortunately my white liberals that don't live in these neighborhoods that are complaining and, you know, oh, they're zip tying children and all that. Yeah, shut up. Shut up. So to President Trump, clean these crap holes up. Clean them up. Clean them up. The people will appreciate it, Charlie.
You're exactly right, JR. All right, buddy, I appreciate it. But listen, all of that money that they're talking about, that money's not going to circumcisions. That money's not going to pastry classes for Haitian male prostitutes. You know where that money's going? They're going to send it to this NGO. That NGO is going to take their cut. They will send the rest to another NGO. That NGO is going to take their cut. Who will send it to another and another and another and another until all of that money is gone, and maybe they will have one class, pastry class, where one person shows up. And then the people that take that little bit of a cut from all of this money, what are they going to do? They're going to take that money and they're going to use it for campaign contributions to go right back to the Democrats to get the whole ball rolling again. That's just how government works. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of nonstop breaking news and stimulating talk jumpstarts every hour on the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9
WORD,
the voice of the Carolinas. Let your fingers do the talking.
Text the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line at 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Well, there was another vote and another no. The government continues to be shut down. But over at MSNBC, they're counting on something. They're counting on the American people to be stupid. Listen to this.
And Sally, the average American doesn't know who Hakeem Jeffries is. They're going to see one party controlling the White House, House, and Senate and blame Trump and Trump alone.
Right, that's a good point. Like how the average American's not going to work their way around the fact that somehow Hakeem Jeffries, who's the minority leader, is responsible for this.
So, yeah, they're way too stupid for that. They're way too dumb for that. Well, truth is, 65% of Americans blame the Democrats.
This New York Times poll that they just released showed that 65% of Americans do not want the Democrats to shut down the government if their demands are not met. Some Republicans are actually surprised by that because they often lose the shutdown wars. What's clicking there that in shutdowns past perhaps didn't with the American people?
Well, because the American people are smart. They could see what's happened. The House Republicans did our job. The Senate Republicans are trying to. We passed a clean resolution, a simple, clean resolution. Why? It's very important. We're trying to get Congress to work again, the regular appropriations process. We're supposed to do 12 separate bills that are carefully debated.
I remember those days.
Remember? We haven't done it in a long time, but we're forcing the muscle memory back. The problem is we ran out of clock because it takes time to do that, and the fiscal year is tonight at midnight. So we just said that.
So that was then. I don't know where it stands now, but it's the Democrats' fault. Every Republican but one, Rand Paul, voted to keep the government open. All but three, 2.5, two Democrats, I believe, and one independent voted to shut it down. It's just that simple. It really is. Now, remember, the budget that they're voting on, the money that they're voting on, is the money in the big, beautiful bill that the Democrats voted for, including Chuck Schumer, just a little while ago. Nothing's changed here. Polymarket is now saying, and this is going to be disastrous for the Democrats, because I think people are going to start looking into this more and more. But Polymarket is now saying that the odds of the government opening up between now and the 9th, now and the 9th, today, or they'll say tonight, tomorrow, and the 9th, 0%. The odds of the government opening up October 10th through the 14th, 22%. The odds of the government opening up October 15th or later, 73%. Well, even over at, what is it? Is it CBS? Even Craig Melvin, well, over on the Today Show, Craig Melvin is actually starting to ask some actual journalism questions.
This is what you said at the time about that particular shutdown. Here it is.
We are willing to take what Senate Republicans have done in order to reopen the government so that we no longer are holding 800,000 federal workers hostage.
Well, that's exactly what you're doing right now. Hundreds of thousands of workers are being held hostage. What's changed from then to now?
Well, actually, Donald Trump is the president. Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. They could reopen the government if they chose to. The reality is...
Well, they would have to change the rules to be fair.
Well, that's correct.
They could, but they would have to spend $1.5 trillion to do it. And I don't think they're going to do it. The hypocrisy of people like Hakeem Jeffries and all and I think even people like Craig Melvin, you know who's responsible for this. You're a smart guy. You're from Columbia, South Carolina. You went to University of South Carolina. You ought to know this stuff. You know who's responsible. They all know who's responsible. It's the Democrats. So when people start hurting, when SNAP benefits go away, when federal workers miss their next paycheck, it's not the Republicans' fault. It's the Democrats' fault. And the Republicans Why I haven't seen this, and maybe we have, maybe we just haven't seen it here in South Carolina, but there needs to be a huge ad campaign talking about how the Republicans are trying to open the government, but the Democrats won't let them because it requires Democrat votes. That's what it does. Now, maybe there are ads running all over the country. I don't know. But I know here in South Carolina, our senators have voted to open the government, but other senators are not. This might not work well for the Democrats. We shall see. Coming up in just a little bit, we were all hearing about foreign interference in our elections. And apparently there was some foreign interference in our elections, but it did not come from Russia. Spoiler alert, it didn't come from China either. But it is a country that we've heard a lot about over the past couple of years. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
You've stepped into the Upstate Talk Octagon. A few left jabs and a lot of right uppercuts. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, welcome back to the program. Let's go to Ralph in Taylor's. How you doing, Ralph?
This is Roger, Charlie.
Oh, Roger, how you doing, buddy?
Mr. Hole in One.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Listen, earlier today you was talking about Ralph Norman. And
Yeah.
you was talking about the early voting for Senate District or Senate Seat 12.
Yeah.
And that's why I was calling in. I got to thinking, I says, I got to call Charlie. Look, they spent, in 2024, they spent about $1 million to defeat Lee Bright by, I think, about 190 votes.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't. They're already running television ads against Lee Bright, and it's the same tactics that they were using. Bright's not bright. Bright can't pass any bills. And you know how they do the shady character,
yeah,
and make you look bad. They'll probably spend $1 million again, but I wanted to put a voice in for Lee Bright.
All right,
and he's about 2 miles out of my district, so I can't vote for him. But if you vote for Lee Bright, and I would get out, vote early, and vote often.
Yeah.
If you get out and vote for him, you're voting for somebody that will vote his in that district's morals and not be told what to vote. And then you brought up Ralph Norman.
Yeah.
These ads say if you want your roads fixed, you need to vote for this XYZ person, not Lee Bright, because Lee Bright can't get anything done. Ralph Norman's not even part of our state government, and he gets a bridge fixed.
Yeah.
And I got to thinking, Trump said in his first term, what do you have to lose? Vote for me. And I'm thinking the same thing. These yahoos down there in Columbia want all the money and the power. They're not fixing the roads. At least Lee Bright will try to fight and make that money go to fix the roads. What do you have to lose? They lie to you all the time. Put somebody down there that's not going to lie to you, and he's going to shoot straight with you. And that's the reason why I was calling in. And I've donated money to Lee Bright.
Yeah.
I can't vote for him, but I have donated money, and I thought I would call in and put that on there. But those people in 12 need to get out and do what's right.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. I agree with you, Roger. I appreciate it. But it's like I was telling a bunch of these candidates. Saturday night, went to that event at Cityscape Winery. By the way, if you haven't been to Cityscape Winery, I highly recommend it. It's a very, very nice place. But I was saying, with the power of this radio station to go out beyond Mecklenburg County or beyond Charlotte up into the Northeast up there in Mount Pleasant, North Carolina, to go up way past Asheville, to go over to Athens, to go down into Columbia until we start having little issues with another 98.9 down there. There is no better place than this radio station to get your message out. But yet we've got some candidates out there that are still hiding, and I don't understand why. I truly don't. Give us a call. You want to talk to us? That's fine. But at very least, get those ads on the air. At very least. This is the biggest bang for the buck in politics, right here. And you guys need to be taking advantage of it. So it was a great event Saturday night. It really, really was fantastic. Well, I remember, and it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. Isn't blackface bad? I mean, I kind of remember somebody saying that blackface is bad and that you should never, ever appear in blackface. There was 3 college kids that they got expelled because they posted a video or a picture of themselves in blackface. Well, they recently won a big lawsuit because it wasn't blackface. It was an acne treatment that they were trying out that all the girls were raving about, so they tried it out. But even the appearance of blackface used to be, well, unless you're a Democrat, right? unless you're a Democrat. I mean, you got Justin Trudeau up there in Canada. He can appear in blackface all he wants to. Whoopi Goldberg's ex-fiance appeared in blackface. Howard Stern appeared in blackface. Nobody cared. Jimmy Kimmel appeared in blackface, and the Democrats didn't care. But if you're a conservative and you even look like you're in blackface, well, that's a bad thing. Well, apparently over on The View, they've decided that blackface is not bad anymore.
Anyway, she's threatening to go to the Super Bowl when Bad Bunny is there and round up all these people that are illegal immigrants. Do you think that she would go if it was Garth Brooks or Eminem or Taylor Swift or any other white person?
Let me understand what you're saying, because she's going to go to the Super Bowl and round up. How's she going to know who's who?
Because the Supreme Court has given permission to question anyone who has a Spanish accent, who has a dark skin.
Yeah. So
That's why.
Here's the thing. Everybody, get a little cocoa butter, sit in the sun. That's the first thing. and this is the only time you can probably ever do this. Give yourself a Latin accent.
You know, Whoopi, that is
And
such a
just
good
see-
idea.
And see if she can tell who's who.
I just swear these people are crazy. But remember, everything they accuse you, everything they accuse us of doing is what they're doing. They're okay with it as long as their side is doing it. I'll give you a great example. They kept talking about how Trump, there was interference in the 2020 election. I'm sorry, the 2016 election. And that Trump was not legitimate. He was an illegitimate president because of what happened in 2016, I'm sorry. So the Dems just absolutely lost their minds over that election. Oh, wait a minute. You don't believe me? Well, let's take a little bit of a listen to this. Hold on. Here we go. Here are the Dems.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
How can you win with Russian interference, though?
That's a real
what I'm
thing.
scared about
No,
in 2020.
But rightly.
Because I think he's an illegitimate president that didn't really win. So how do you fight against that in 2020?
You are absolutely right.
He's an illegitimate president in my mind.
Would you be my vice presidential candidate? Folks, look, I absolutely agree.
Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put in office because the Russians interfered.
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president.
The president-elect, although legally elected, is not
And
legitimate.
it goes on and on and on. Well, it turns out there was some interference in the 2016 election, but it did not come from Russia. Here's John Solomon talking about it.
Ukrainian parliament. Let's talk about the tape recording. Evidence.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know much about it because it's floating around Ukraine. But we do know the general prosecutor of Ukraine, our equivalent of the attorney general, came on our show this morning and said the following. There's enough evidence for me to open up a criminal investigation into the illicit effort by a Ukrainian to try to influence the United States election in favor of Hillary Clinton. That's a profound statement coming from the top law enforcement official of Ukraine. Why is it important? There's a court in Ukraine that's already concluded that Ukrainian officials leaked Paul Manafort's financial records to try to sway the U.S. election. You haven't heard anything about that in the American press, but that ruling occurred recently. Then a parliamentary member comes out and says, I have a tape of these law enforcement officials saying they did it specifically to help Hillary Clinton. That becomes the foundation of the Ukrainian investigation.
And you have talked to people that have heard this tape, correct?
Well, the prosecutor himself has heard the tape and said it was important enough, good enough evidence to warrant opening the investigation. So the tape, the court ruling, the top prosecutor in Ukraine says there was a foreign power.
Two separate issues here.
So now let's go back. Now let's go back and remember the first impeachment of Donald Trump, where he said there's some corruption going on in Ukraine and you guys need to look into it. Well, then what happened? Colonel Vindman decided that President Trump violated foreign policy when he didn't realize that the president is foreign policy. And President Trump made that phone call and he was impeached for it. When you actually had legitimate corruption in Ukraine, with Joe Biden.
And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to the press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a got fired.
There you go. Corruption in Ukraine. Ukraine trying to overthrow the 2016 election? Looks like that was a perfect phone call from Donald Trump. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Giving the left heartburn. Afternoons 3 to 7. Dum. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Charlie Speaks.
You listen on your time.
Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
SLED has launched an investigation after South Carolina Judge Diane Goldstein's Edisto Beach home burned to the ground this past weekend. And there are people out there, of course there are, right? Of course these folks on the left, they're trying to blame the Republicans. This guy, Izzy Garden, says a few weeks ago, one of Trump's top DOJ officials publicly targeted this judge. Today, the judge's home is on fire. Daniel Goldman, Trump, Stephen Miller, and MAGA world have been doxing and threatening judges who rule against Trump, including Judge Goodstein. Today, someone committed arson at the judge's home, severely injuring her husband and her son. Will Trump speak out against the extreme right that did this? Yasmin Ansari. Just yesterday, Stephen Miller called judges terrorists. Now a judge's home has burned after an explosion. We need a full investigation. But it's undeniable that this rhetoric is dangerous and it makes violence feel permissible. Is Donald Trump going to say or do anything? South Carolina authorities have said that there is no evidence to indicate that the fire at Judge Diane Goodstein's home was intentionally set. They have not said anything about it. But what did these Democrats do? They rushed to judgment, just like they always do. Let's go to Richard in Dallas. Richard, welcome.
Hey, Charlie, how you doing, man?
I'm great. What's up, my brother?
Hey, did you get my bail I sent you?
Your mail?
The bail, B-E-L-L. You know, we talked about
I
this
did.
earlier. I said,
Hey.
You need a bail, not no Tinker bail.
I
You said, well, buy me a bail, send it to me.
I haven't checked my my mailbox yet. I'll go look.
Listen, I sent it there to that Garlington Road.
Right.
And got the address and then attention Charlie James. And this is a man bail, okay? Charlie, it ain't no Tinker bail. This is an award-winning man bail.
So that's not good enough? That's not a good enough bail?
No, sir, not for you.
Okay, all right,
No,
I
sir.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
we got a manly
We got
bell
a manly
coming up?
bell coming up?
Are you there?
Are you there?
All I can hear is me.
All I can hear is me.
All right, Richard. Well, I appreciate it. I tell you what, I haven't checked my mailbox today. I'll go downstairs. I'll look and see if it's there. And if it is, and we try it out, and it is a more man. Now, listen, let me tell you something. This bell, I didn't buy it. It wasn't my idea. Maybe, I don't even know if it's been a year that I've had this bell. I wasn't crazy about it. When I got the bell, but because somebody gave it to me, I did not want to hurt their feelings. So I used that bell. Now I could not stand the cowbell. That just didn't do it for me. So I tried to go to another bell. And we'll see. I don't know if we're going to get another cowbell or what. But if that bell is acceptable, Richard, I promise we're going to use that. All right. WORD Talk Line 800-9050-989. Don't forget, we do have some elections coming up. Early voting going on right now for the Senate District 12 seat. That's happening. Also, going on right now, the South Carolina District 21 Forum, that's happening. You can check that out. Joey Hudson is moderating that one. So we got a lot going on in politics. I was talking to a bunch of politicians. Saturday night, we were out at the Cityscape Winery, and it was fantastic. And boy, I tell you what, everybody's like, we got to get these people out to vote. You got to get out there and vote. So right now, over in District 21, we've got Reggie Batson, Diane Mitchell, Steve Nail, Jack Stott, all running on the Republican side for that one. But ultimately, All of these decisions are going to be up to you guys. Because if we keep going the way we're going here in South Carolina, we are going to be in some very hard times. Because remember, more and more people are moving here every day. Gosh, when Sheila and I, we were headed out to Cityscape Winery, and the traffic was unbelievable. And like I said, more people are coming every single day. And a lot of them are bringing their voting records with them. They disliked where they came from so much that they decided they were going to get out and go somewhere else. And then they come here and they vote exactly the same way that they did when they were back home. I'll never understand that. They want to change the way, well, here's the thing. I want to change the way we do things here in South Carolina. I want to do that. Because the way we're doing things right now is completely messed up. The way that we're appointing judges to the bench, that's wrong. When you get lawyer legislators that have the ability to have influences over judges because they were the ones that got them on the bench, that's just not right. And that ultimately hurts us. When we've got radical Democrats chairing subcommittee chairmanships, that's wrong. So we've got to change things in Columbia. If we want closed primaries, if we want all the nice things, then we're going to have to vote differently than we voted in the past. And those people are going to be well funded. But we'll make sure we point them out to you. All right, folks, y'all have a lovely evening. I've enjoyed you this afternoon. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. As always, God bless. Buckle up. Bye, y'all.